All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Haley Allen, and I'm the Manager of Communications and Engagement with the College of Graduate Studies at UBC Okanagan. And welcome to our first Applying to Graduate School at UBC Okanagan Q&A session. Thank you so much for joining us. So to start things off today, I'm going to pass it over to Paul Shipley, our Associate Dean, for a bit of a welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Shipley, and as Haley said, I'm the Associate Dean of the College of Graduate Studies at UBC Okanagan. I want to begin today by respectfully acknowledging the Silk Okanagan Nation and their peoples, in whose traditional, ancestral, unceded territory UBC Okanagan is situated, and to acknowledge that you are joining us today from many places near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. UBC Okanagan and the College of Graduate Students are committed to the truth and reconciliation for Indigenous peoples. In 2019, UBC Okanagan pledged to support Indigenous students, culture, and scholarship through a public declaration of 5 commitments in response to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's call to action. We are so pleased that you're considering joining our community of graduate students pursuing advanced degrees in innovative research, and wish to offer you our congratulations on starting your application and taking the first steps to apply for graduate studies at UBC Okanagan. And thank you for taking the time to be here today. We know that applying to graduate school can be confusing and stressful at times, and hope that today's session will help make the application process a little bit smoother for you. Graduate students play a vital role in shaping the world around us and advancing UBC's vision of inspiring people, ideas, and actions for a better world. Whether you're passionate about exploring a research topic, looking to expand your knowledge, or heading back to school to make a career change, there is a place for you here at UBC Okanagan. UBC's Okanagan campus bolsters the strength of UBC as one of the 40 best universities in the world. Our campus offers a smaller and close-knit community in the heart of the Okanagan Valley, a supportive place where students and faculty are empowered to thrive. Our 19 graduate programs bring together students from around the globe seeking innovative solutions for tomorrow's challenges and changing how we live in the Okanagan and beyond. Best wishes with your application and whatever the future holds for you. I'm looking forward to possibly meeting you as UBC Okanagan graduate students next year.
Thank you so much, Paul. And before I pass it over to our main presenter for today, I see that our Dean, Peter Simpson, has also joined us. So I do just want to pass it over to Peter as our Dean just to say a quick hello.
Hi, folks, and thanks for joining us. And, we've got a great team here in Graduate Studies who can help you with your inquiries about the mysterious world of graduate programs. And as Paul said, I hope that we'll see you here. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. So now I will pass it over to Laura Bissell, our business analyst and training lead, who's going to take you through all of the important information and details that you need today. So Laura, take it away.
Thanks, Haley. Welcome, everyone, to our admissions Q&A today. I am the business analyst and training lead for the College of Graduate Studies. And joining me today is Caitlin Voth, my colleague, who is our Graduate Awards and Projects Officer. We also have with us today Stephanie Chenham, who is an Indigenous Graduate Student Advisor for Indigenous Programs and Services. And we're also pleased to have with us today Jason Taylor, who is an Accessibility Advisor within the Disability Resource Center. In terms of our graduate admissions and records officers, we have Damien Bell and Natalia Penuela Gallo, who will be here to assist with answering any questions you may have at the end of the session, as well as Michelle Colby, who will be monitoring our chat. In terms of what we're going to talk about today, this is just a brief agenda. So what we're first going to speak about is the overview of the application process, things you need to think about before you apply, a brief overview of our eligibility requirements, and some of the things that you need to pull together in order to prepare your application. We'll follow that up with a brief discussion about funding your studies and as well as campus resources that are available to you. After submitting your application is the next thing we're going to talk about, and then we'll wrap things up with a Q&A. Now, if you do have questions, please use the Q&A section on Zoom that you would like to ask, as that is where we will be populating our questions from. So first things first, which program and degree are you interested in? Tell us a little bit about who you are. You'll note that there are 3 questions here, but questions 2 and 3 are the same question. We were a little bit limited in terms of the number of programs that we could ask about in each question. So this poll will be open for the remainder of the session, so please fill it out at your leisure. Okay, so there are 3 main players involved in the application process at UBC Okanagan. We have applicants, the College of Graduate Studies, and graduate programs. And it's important to know who is responsible for what. In terms of applicants, aka you, some of the things that you're responsible for are, of course, choosing the program that you're interested in applying to. It's also your responsibility to review our admission and application requirements as detailed on our website. Our website is a very expansive resource for you, particularly our programs and applying section. So please review that website if you haven't yet after this session. In terms of the application itself, applicants are also required to submit the application and materials via our online application system. It's your responsibility to check the status of the application and submit documents until the application is complete. If you're admitted, you would need to accept or decline your offers via the application system and submit all official documents and clear admission conditions as required. In terms of the College of Graduate Studies and the responsibilities of this office, the College of Graduate Studies provides services around applications, admissions, scholarships, and awards. The office can answer general questions around the application process and any questions about minimum requirements. What the office cannot assist with is academic advising services, nor can we offer pre-assessments of your credentials. In terms of the application itself, the College of Graduate Studies receives submitted applications via the application system and verifies and validates all documents and references. We also send complete applications to the programs for their review and process admission recommendations and send the offers or declines. Our office also will validate official transcripts and other documents and clear admission conditions. What is the graduate program responsible for? Well, if you have questions about deciding which program to apply to, this is where you need to go. The programs can answer general prospective inquiries related to the programs themselves, as well as offer academic advising. If you have questions about career opportunities, teaching assistantships, research assistantships, or program level awards, this is where you need to go. You would contact either the program assistant or the graduate program coordinator for the program that you are interested in applying to. In terms of the application, the programs will review and evaluate completed applications and submit their admission recommendations to the College of Graduate Studies. So what are some things you need to think about before you apply? Well, there are 2 main things you need to think about. 1, choosing your program. You need to ask yourself, why do I want to pursue a graduate degree? What do you hope to achieve by going back to school? Really take inventory of your passions and motivations when deciding which program is right for you. Further, do your research and explore your options. Not all graduate degrees are created equal, and even in the same discipline, programs can vary. Does the program you're interested in emphasize theory, original research, or a more practical application of knowledge? Make sure the program's focus matches your goals. And keep your career goals in mind. This should be the top of your list when choosing a degree that suits you. For some careers, an advanced degree gives you an edge. For others, it may not. You need to consider whether you would like to use a course-based, if you would like to attend a course-based program or a more research-based. Generally speaking, students contemplating a PhD or an academic career are better served with a research-based program. If you have program-specific questions, as mentioned earlier, please reach out to the program that you're interested in directly. Another thing that you need to consider, if you are going to be preparing an application is identify a supervisor. Most thesis-based programs will require you to do this. When you're ready to contact potential supervisors, develop a short list and contact them by email. This is a first good step. Start early. Don't contact them right before an application deadline and expect an immediate response. Do your research. Familiarize yourself with your prospective supervisors' interests and projects. Check out their websites and publications and current research projects. Write concisely and professionally. Professors get dozens of emails from potential applicants. If you want your email to stand out, you must communicate clearly and get them the information that they need quickly. Make a connection and provide your reasons to be considered. Connect the work that you've done and the research projects that the professor is working on. Include any details about scholarships that you have won, as well as any research projects or publications you've contributed to. Now, a question that often comes up for our admissions and records team is, what if I don't receive a response? Well, if you're struggling to connect and identify a supervisor, reaching out to the graduate program coordinator or assistant might be beneficial. Remember, professors are very busy and their schedules will vary depending on the time of year, and some may not be able to respond to your emails right away. Remember, a positive first impression is your goal. Okay, so next we're going to move on to our eligibility requirements. Now, these are the minimum requirements set by the university, and individual graduate programs may have stricter requirements. So it's best to review our academic calendar for the specific degree program that interests you. In terms of applicants applying from Canadian or American institutions, if you're applying for a master's degree, you should hold the academic equivalent of a four-year bachelor's degree with a minimum overall average in the B+ range in your third-year courses and up. If you're looking at a doctoral application, applicants must hold the academic equivalent of a master's degree with clear evidence of researchability or potential and a minimum overall average in the B+ range in all graduate level courses. Things are a little bit more complex when we turn to international institutions. In general, master's applicants must hold a credential deemed academically equivalent to a four-year bachelor's degree from an approved institution and demonstrate superior academic standing. Doctoral applicants must hold a credential deemed academically equivalent to an approved Canadian 2 years master's degree from an approved institution and who demonstrate superior academic standing. Now, as things can change from country to country, the UBC has developed the International Student Evaluation International Student Evaluation Manual that will show you the specific minimum admission requirements for graduates from different countries. So this should include the credential that you require, as well as the academic standing needed in order for you to be admitted to UBC. So this is available on our website, and if you have a chance to go and check this out after our session today, I recommend you do so. In terms of eligibility requirements as well, applicants applying from universities outside Canada at which English is not the primary language of instruction must present evidence of competency to pursue studies in the English language. Now, this is generally done through testing. And so we have two main accepted tests at UBC currently. This is the UBC Okanagan. This is the TOEFL and the IELTS. However, as a temporary COVID-19 response, we are accepting these additional language tests, the TOEFL IBT Home Edition, the Duolingo English Test, and the Kale Online. Now, again, our minimums for admission are listed on our website, so please check those out. But it's important to note that some graduate programs may set higher English language proficiency scores than those listed on our website. So you are encouraged to check each program's website for further information. And there is one other note I will say, is that we are not currently accepting the IELTS indicator. So unfortunately, we can only accept the regular IELTS right now. Now moving on, you've figured out what program you want to apply to, you've connected with a supervisor if required, you checked out our website, you're ready to start the process. So what do you need to do first? Well, an important thing to do is, of course, check the deadlines. Our applications open one calendar year before their start date. So for example, if you are applying for a September 2022 start, the applications opened September 1st of this year. Our website has a very extensive deadlines database that will help you plan ahead as to when you need to submit your application. The deadlines for complete application packages are all found in our deadlines database, which is again on our website. Some programs may accept complete applications after the posted deadline. So it is important that if you're planning on applying after those deadlines, you reach out to the program first. Applications received by the application deadlines will receive priority consideration. Next up, you're ready to actually access the application. So prepare your application by using the online application and submitting the fee. All applicants are advised to use our online application system. A campus-wide login is required. So if you are a current or past UBC student or staff member and have a previous campus-wide login, do not create a new account, as this can delay the processing of your application. Additionally, the application fee is non-refundable. So currently, domestic applicants, this includes Canadians, permanent residents, refugees, and diplomats, the rate is $110 Canadian. And for international applicants, the rate is $168.25 Canadian. One thing to keep in mind is that if you are applying as a domestic applicant, you will be required to provide proof of Canadian citizenship or permanent residency within the application. So please have that document ready as well. Another big thing to consider is make sure you choose the right campus. Vancouver and Okanagan both use the same online application system. So choosing the right campus is really important. When you go into the application system, you will find all of the Okanagan programs are listed on the right-hand side. So please make sure you are applying to the right campus, because unfortunately, we are unable to transfer applications across campus. In terms of documents, one of the major requirements needed is, of course, your transcripts. A complete academic history is required for all post-secondary institutions that you've attended. So this includes not only degrees that you have completed, but those that you've withdrawn from, or that you've attended as part of an exchange or transfer credit. You would not need to add high school academic history. Unofficial scanned copies of all post-secondary transcripts are required at the time of application. So when you're pulling together the documents for your application, please ensure you have these on hand. And as a note, if you are a previous UBC student, or if you've attended UBC as a transfer student, you are not required to upload those transcripts. In terms of what you need to provide for each institution that you've attended, you must provide transcripts and include all pages back and front, as well as a grading scale. If there's no conferral information on a transcript for a degree you've completed, please include the degree certificate. Web printouts are acceptable, but they must include your name, institution, and of course, all coursework. If your institution does not issue transcripts in English, you must also submit a copy of the transcripts in their original language, as well as an English translation. Conditional admission offers can be based on unofficial documents uploaded to the application system. Offers are not finalized, and applicants cannot register until one set of all required official academic records is received by the College of Graduate Studies. Now, I've given a very brief overview of the instructions for transcripts, but there are very detailed instructions on how to submit official transcripts on our website. So please read those instructions carefully when you're at the point of submitting official copies to the College of Graduate Studies. In terms of references, there's a minimum of 3 references required for all graduate programs at UBC Okanagan. Choose referees who know your skills and experience best and can communicate your ability to succeed as a graduate student. Give them lots of time in order to prepare their reference letters for you. Check the website for the College of Graduate Studies for the rules around what is considered an acceptable reference. What is an academic reference or a professional reference? Anything that does not fit either of those categories as described on our website would be considered personal, and personal references are not acceptable. Referees are sent a request when you submit your application, so please reach out to them before you press submit. And of course, one final thing is choose referees with institutional email addresses. Our application will own all referees are verified for their authenticity. So if you choose a referee who does not have an institutional email address, they will not be able to submit a reference letter for you via the application system, and it could delay the processing of your application. One of the other key elements of your application is, of course, your statement of purpose or statement of interest. Most programs will require a brief statement regarding your academic and/or professional goals and how they align with the program. Check if your program has specific requirements for the statement of purpose. Some do have very specific instructions, for example, social work, nursing, IGS, English, and others. Please check our website for a full list. Explain your motivation for choosing your program and your supervisor. Similar to when you were reaching out to your prospective supervisor, try to answer the question why you want to pursue this degree. That answer can guide you through your statement of purpose. Highlight your suitability for the program. Include your interests, achievements, and any goals that you have. Prove your academic readiness. Your statement of interest should be well written and concise. Describe how this graduate program will benefit you and what you see as your contribution to the program. In terms of tips around submitting English language proficiency test scores, please note that the English language test score checklist item will be added to all applications upon submission. So don't panic if you are from a domestic institution, say for example, the University of Toronto, and you've been asked to submit English language test scores. It will be removed by our staff for eligible applicants once an application is processed by the College of Graduate Studies. In terms of the test scores, they must have been taken within the last 24 months and must be valid when your application is submitted. A copy of your test scores must be uploaded to the application at the time that you submit your application. Official scores must be received before any admission offer can be sent. So please either mail these test scores or electronically from the testing agency as guided on our website. Another key part of your application is, of course, the CV, curriculum vitae, or resume. This is required by most programs. Tailor your CV or resume to suit the chosen program or field. Some of the suggested content that you can include is education and credentials, your employment history, your research experience, internship or volunteer work, and your academic achievements. Make sure that you present the information in an easily accessible and attractive style. There are a few other documents that some programs require, including the criminal record check. This is required for students who are admitted to social work and clinical psychology. So it is not required at the time of application submission, but if you are admitted, you will be required to submit that document. In terms of a portfolio, this is required for applicants to the Masters of the Fine Arts program, as well as the scholarly writing sample. For quite a few programs, this is an optional document. However, there are some that do require it. So please check the website accordingly. A few things of note for the scholarly writing sample: it must be in English, and it really should demonstrate your ability to analyze a topic in the same or related field to which you're applying. Some of the examples of what you could include as a writing sample are, of course, course papers, conference papers, or publications. Now I'm going to hand things over to to my colleague, Caitlin Voth, to discuss some details about funding your studies.
So like Laura mentioned, I'm Caitlin Voth. I'm the Graduate Awards Officer at the College of Graduate Studies. And the most common way that you will likely be funding some of your studies on campus is via internal awards. So we have quite a few different internal awards, and you can find them on our awards and opportunities page. So you can get to that page from our main website by going to tuition and awards, or tuition and finance, sorry, and then selecting awards opportunities. So at the top of this awards opportunities page is a little filtering system, and this can help you determine which awards you are eligible for. So you can filter via citizenship, you can filter via degree level, you can filter via applicant status. So if you're an incoming student, which means you're in your first year of study, or if you're a continuing student, which means you're in your second year of study or up, and also via award status. So if you only want to see awards that are currently open for application, you can do that. And then the second way you may be funding your studies is via external award opportunities. So these are awards that are not managed by our office, and you can find them via a couple of databases. So Scholarships Canada is a great one to look at if you're looking for external awards, and also studentawards.com. So these will give you a list of all of the awards in Canada that are offered for students, and you can filter on those websites as well. And these are, again, external awards. You can also sometimes come across these via our award opportunity emails. So these are emails that we send to students who are registered, and they automatically receive these emails. And these award opportunity emails will cover both external awards and internal awards that are opening up. So I just wanted to make a note, though, that if it is an external award, we don't have any insider knowledge of them. So we can't really offer you any answers to your questions if you have them. So if you do consider applying for an external award and you have questions about them, you should be contacting the administrating agency for those. So to talk about minimum funding, I'd like to introduce Nathan Sutton.
Hi, good morning, everybody. As Caitlin said, my name is Nathan Sletton. I'm the manager of graduate awards at UBC's Okanagan campus. And this is my only slide, so I'll just give a quick update on a new policy that we implemented on our campus just this summer. And it is the minimum funding policy for PhD students. So if you are applying to a PhD program, you are most likely eligible to receive a guaranteed funding commitment of $20,000 per year for up to 4 years. And this funding package can be comprised of internal or external awards, your graduate research assistantships, support from your supervisor, or graduate teaching assistantships, or even work study appointments. So this policy and what the sources that comprise this policy are all supported by your graduate program. So if you are admitted and you have any questions about your funding commitment, can you please check with your graduate program, your supervisor, because they are responsible for maintaining that commitment to you. And that's all that I have, so I'll pass it over to whoever's next.
Thank you, Nathan. Now I'd like to introduce Stephanie Trenum, who will discuss the resources available for Indigenous, Indigenous students through the Indigenous Programs and Services Office.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Laura. Well, I guess it's not great to see everyone because I can't actually see you, but thanks everyone for joining. As Laura said, my name is Stephanie Trenum, and I'm an Indigenous graduate student advisor with Indigenous Programs and Services. So just a little overview of some of the services that we provide, primarily for Indigenous students who identify as First Nation, Métis, or Inuit. We provide student advising. We also have a counselor who works within our unit who can provide health and wellness counseling for students. We have social and cultural events that we host throughout the year, workshops, student staff who provide tutoring for other students as well, including peer mentorship, and we can also help with academic planning as well once you're on campus. And then part of my role, if you're an Indigenous student and you're planning to apply to UBC, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I'd be happy to be a point of contact for you throughout your application, and hopefully once you are admitted to the university. And then we have a whole team over at Indigenous Programs and Services who can provide individual support, referrals, advocacy, whatever you need while you're on campus. We're here for you, and we aim to create a home away from home for you at our Indigenous Center, which the picture that I have is as my virtual background. That's kind of a space that we have for our Indigenous students on campus at the University Center. And at the space, we have group study spaces, there's a kitchen, gathering space, and computers. So we're here for you, and we're so excited to see you, hopefully sometime in the future. And I've included my contact information there at the bottom of the slide, and I can post it in the chat as well. But it's just stephanie.trenham@ubc.ca. And then more information about our Indigenous programs and services is available on the website, and I've put the link there as well. And then we also post updates to our social media accounts as well on Facebook and Instagram at UBCO Indigenous. That's all I had, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Stephanie. All right, up next, we do have Jason Taylor, who is representing the Disability Resource Center. So Jason, please take it away.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, everyone. As Laura said, my name is Jason Taylor. I'm an accessibility advisor with the Disability Resource Center. I want to tell you a little bit about the team, what we do on campus to support students, and then to talk about how best to get registered. So our team consists of a number of accessibility advisors. Happily, we're growing, so I think we'll have 5 now. Accessibility advisors work on a one-to-one basis with students who have permanent disabilities or chronic health conditions that might require accommodations. The accommodations are for in-class situations, exam situations, or general campus life situations where a student with disability or chronic health condition might experience barriers. So accessibility advisors meet with students with disabilities and chronic health conditions to discuss those barriers and to determine the right ways to try to alleviate or remove them so that students with disabilities can fully participate in campus life. The exam team then supports those processes by helping students with disabilities complete their exams with extra time, for example, or with access to accessibility features like read and write programs that will help them access their degrees. And then intake and admin are likely going to be the first people that you touch base with when you reach out to us. So if you think you might need our services, the best way to register to be in touch is to email drc.questions@ubc.ca. It's a general email monitored by many people. We'll see your email and reach out as soon as we're able. If you need to register, there's an intake package to complete, which is 2 documents. Can we get the next slide, Laura? That's okay. The intake package asks you to submit your medical documentation, and that's in line with policy LF7 of UBCO. But just as a sort of aspects of our department, these numbers are outdated, actually. There's more than 800 students now who are registered in our office, and the majority of the students who are registered with us have non-visible disabilities. So mental health diagnoses, sensory disabilities, physical disabilities, chronic health, neurological, ADHD, There's a wide range of disabilities for which we're able to provide accommodations. Accommodations at the graduate student level are a bit different than the undergraduate level because the programs are so different, so distinct. So we work with students on an individual basis to try to find the right ways to help them navigate their degree. We're a busy office, but we work, well, I mean, everybody works real hard, but we work really hard to make sure that students with disabilities are included and can navigate the system. So to be in touch with us, drc.questions@ubc.ca. We'd be happy to work with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. So moving on to what can happen after you submit your application. Well, things to remember is that applications cannot be edited after you submit them. So please allow yourself plenty of time to fill it out. You can upload documents and manage references after submission, but if you're answering questions within the application, you cannot make any changes. Check your application status regularly. This is your responsibility as an applicant. If you're looking in the application system, please locate your application under submitted applications and manage your documents and references accordingly. One thing to keep track of is that you will be sent emails via the application system periodically. So check your emails regularly, including your junk mailbox. Sometimes programs or our office requires additional information, so it's best to keep an eye out for our emails. Another thing to consider is that if you're submitting documents to us, we receive a large volume of mail in the College of Graduate Studies during admission season. Generally, this season runs from December through to the end of April. So processing time can take a little bit longer than usual and is normally 10 business days during this period. You will be notified when your application is sent for review. As I said before, you will be receiving periodic notifications, so make sure that your email is up to date. If your email changes while your application is in progress, please email our office and we can update it for you. Once your application is complete and it's sent for review, please allow 8 to 12 weeks after the application deadline has passed for a program to review your application and make an admission decision. Once that decision is received by the College of Graduate Studies and processed, you will be notified of the outcome via the application system. If you have any questions at any time, please email our admissions and records officers at gradadmissions.ok@ubc.ca. Okay, so that concludes the structured portion of our session today. So now we're going to start moving on to taking questions. Our admissions and records team is available to answer questions that you have about the application process and the application itself, as well as our campus partners are also here to stay to answer any questions that you may have for them as well. So Haley, I'm not sure if you want me to take over the Q&A.
Yeah, Laura, that sounds great. I see we have about 9 questions in the Q&A that have not been answered yet. And we also have a handful in the chat. A reminder to everyone to please put your questions in the Q&A. It just makes it easier for us to answer them and track them there. But we will get to the few that have been added into the chat. You'll also see in the Q&A that we have answered quite a few questions by typing. So feel free to look at those, and Laura, maybe we can just at some point go through those so that everyone can see the answers to that. So take it away, everyone. Please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A, and we'll try our best to answer as many of them as we can. We've made really good time. Good work, Laura. So we've got lots of time left to answer your questions. So Laura, take it away.
Okay, so I'll look at this first one here. So the question is, one of my referees is between jobs at the moment and does not have access to an institutional email. I asked the program I'm interested in, and they said it should be okay, but I want to double check here. Will a Gmail account be accepted in the application process? I've gotten mixed answers and want to ensure that things are received on time for my application. Michelle, would you like to answer that question?
Sorry, I think I just clicked on answer live because you were answering it. Please go ahead.
In terms of the application system, it will allow you to enter a Gmail application, or sorry, excuse me, a Gmail email account for your referee. The system will not block you from doing that. However, what will happen is that your referee will be provided specialized instructions as to how they will be able to submit a document, or sorry, reference for you in terms of your application. So yes, so please enter that referee into your reference if you feel that that person is the best person to provide you with a reference for your application. Just be aware that they will be provided an alternate route for providing that reference, and that can take some added time. In general, they will be advised to provide our office with a mailed reference letter. Okay. Next, going on to the next question. First, really sorry for the recent natural disaster. Thank you very much. Yeah, look, we're quite lucky in Kelowna right now, but yes, very many parts of BC have been affected, so I appreciate the concern. I have one query, which is, should I need to submit separately for funding or scholarships, or will my application be considered for scholarship automatically while applying? Caitlin or Nathan, would you like to answer that question?
Sure, I can answer that. It really depends on the award. So for some awards, like the Graduate Dean's Entrance Scholarship, for instance, you will be considered automatically for that funding based on your application for admission. And then there are other awards that you will need to apply for, which include the sort of bigger tri-agency awards, such as the CGSD and the CDSM. But you can see the application instructions and whether or not you will be automatically considered, or if you have to apply on our awards page. Each award will describe the application process, so you can determine if you have to apply for it or if you will be automatically considered.
Great, thank you, Caitlin. Okay. Next question. I've worked for more than 10 years after finishing my graduation. Would it be okay if 2 of my references are academic and the other one is a professional one? Damien, would you like to take that answer?
Yes, it would be okay if one of your references is professional, because you have attended an institution 10 years ago. So that would be fine. You can provide 2 academic references and 1 professional reference.
Great, thanks so much, Damien. Must I discuss funding opportunities with my potential supervisor? In general, you should have an idea of what, how you're going to fund your degree. However, you don't have to have everything sorted out. In terms of the funding opportunities, Caitlin, do you have anything to add?
No, but it's always a good idea, like Laura said, to talk about these awards and potential awards with your supervisor. It's certainly not an obligation, but it will definitely help improve your application if you are talking about awards with your supervisor, and your supervisor may also be aware of awards and funding that we're not aware of or that they think would be a really good fit for you. So it is definitely a good idea to be discussing those things with your supervisor.
Great, thanks so much. Next question. I've previously reviewed supervisors, their research and projects, and made the short list of those that match my interests. But I'm still unclear on how to identify my purpose, career path, etc. Is it possible to speak with a program coordinator more in depth? As I mentioned earlier, if you're looking for any academic advising, the best place to go is the program itself. So each program at UBC Okanagan will have a graduate program coordinator as well as a graduate program assistant. So when you're looking at the different websites for each program, there should be contact details as to who you should speak with for more in-depth questions. If you're having trouble identifying who that person is, you can of course email us at gradask.ok@ubc.ca, And we can, of course, forward you on to the correct person. Does the number of journal publications play an important role in getting accepted into a thesis-based doctoral program? I don't know if anyone in our office could really answer that question for you. I think that would be something that you would need to forward to the program itself. It doesn't hurt to include all the details that you've been, all the details of all the programs that you've been involved with. In general, that would probably be a question that you should direct to the program or the supervisor that you're hoping to work with. Is it best to reach out to the Disability Resource Center before you submit your application or afterwards? Jason, would you mind answering that question for us?
Thanks, Laura. Yeah, good question. It's best to start your application as early as possible. So even if you don't know yet if you've been admitted to your program, reaching out to us and beginning the application process is important to do, because it takes a while for that process to be completed, given that we have to secure medical documentation. We need to sort of look at that and determine the appropriate accommodations. It's always best to start early. And if it turns out that you aren't admitted or you choose to go to a different institution, that we can just sort of file that information. So reach out as early as possible. It will help you to avoid. So often when we see graduate students coming to the Disability Resource Center, they come because they're in crisis, because they've, had a disagreement with their supervisor or something isn't going right in their program. And because the registration process takes a long time, it takes 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks in some cases, or even longer. It's hard to offer the kinds of support that students would need in that point of crisis. And so if you start early, it's much easier for us. Hopefully that makes sense.
Thank you, Jason. If the student's application is rejected, is the student able to receive advice as to what they can do to improve in the future? Natalia, would you like to take that question?
Thank you for that question. So due to a significant number of applications that we received hundreds of applications. We're not able to provide applicants with a specific explanations as to why they have been declined. So our programs are very competitive, and meeting minimum requirements do not guarantee admission to any program. And so that is why we wouldn't be able to explain why an application will have been rejected.
Thank you, Natalia. For the courses with prerequisite courses, do I still have to do them if I have done similar courses in my undergraduate studies? I'm a prospective international student. In general, if you are looking at applying for a program that you need a certain background for, we do recommend you reach out to the program to discuss any content of any courses you've taken previously as to whether you've met those requirements or not. So that's really a question that you should be directing to the program that you're interested in applying to. There is a possibility for some students admitted to UBC Okanagan whereby they can receive exemptions for courses based on previous experience or coursework, but that would not be determined until you are admitted. So regarding that question, please reach out to the program that you're interested in applying to. Is work industrial experience helpful in getting the application accepted for the master's or PhD program? If so, how? Michelle, would you like to answer that question?
Sorry, I was typing. I didn't hear you. I'm typing answers to the chat questions too.
Oh, my apologies. Okay, no problem. So the question again was, is work or industrial experience helpful in getting the application accepted for master's or a PhD program? If so, how?
I would say that depends on the program, and it would be best to talk to your potential supervisor and or the program administrator or coordinator, because it can really vary depending on the program that you're interested in applying to.
Great, thanks, Michelle. How do I participate in a graduate academic assistantship program? If I'm understanding the question correctly, that's possibly either a teaching assistantship or graduate research assistantship program. Those types of questions, those are all handled at the program level. So while you are applying and contacting supervisors, it would be important to note whether you're interested in applying for graduate teaching assistantships or graduate research assistantships, as that kind of information is possible for them to provide you at the time of application. The College of Graduate Studies is not involved in either of those processes, so it's really important that you reach out to the programs. Okay. Next question. Good morning. Thank you very much for the webinar. Thank you for attending. I am an international applicant. If I've submitted scanned documents of my transcripts, how and when should I send the official documents? Damien, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. Once you have received an admission offer, we will send you an email to say that you have been admitted to graduate studies. And at that point, you can send official documents. Because we know it costs to get additional documents or additional transcripts, we don't generally require that you submit transcript prior to receiving admission. So you can wait until admission is confirmed, then you can submit the documents.
Thank you, Damien. There are not a lot of guidelines for statement of purpose on my program page within the clinical psychology in terms of format and page number. It just requires a brief statement. Would 1 to 2 pages single space be sufficient? Thank you. Again, in general, when you have questions like that, we do suggest that you direct them to the program itself. Within the application as well, there are some instructions provided. So following those instructions within the application for clinical psychology is always a great bet. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there is a frequently asked questions document available on the website for clinical psychology. So if you have not come across that yet, you can email our office at gradask.ok@ubc.ca and ask us to send you that link, and we will be more than happy to send that on to you. I believe that the answer that you're looking for should be located within that document. So thanks very much for that question, Inyo. Next question. I was told that it is difficult to get funding if you apply after November 1st. Is that true, or is there still an opportunity yet to receive funding if you've not submitted an application yet? Caitlin, please go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, so there isn't a universal specific date that you should be applying for to be considered for funding, but it is a good idea to be submitting your application by whatever the application deadline is for your program or degree. Just because students who submit their applications on time will be considered priority for funding, but it doesn't mean that you will necessarily not get funded if you don't apply by the deadline, if you are successful in your admission application. So there's not one hard answer, but it is a good idea to be submitting as soon as you feel your application is complete, and don't delay, because it is a good idea to be getting it in there as soon as you can if you do want to be considered for funding.
Great, thank you, Caitlin. The next question I have here, if I attended my undergraduate university within 5 years, can I still use 1 professional reference and 2 academic, or should all 3 be academic? I'll just quickly, briefly reiterate what we said earlier. Yes, it is still possible for you to use 1 professional reference. And in fact, while 3 academic references are preferred, you can automatically provide 1 professional reference. If you're in a situation where your you've attended university within the last 5 years and you are unable to provide 2 academic and 1 professional reference, you can reach out to the program, and it is possible for them to provide you with the ability to provide additional professional references as needed. Next question, do I need to seek a research supervisor before starting my application, irrespective of my interest area? Natalia, would you like to answer that question?
Hi. Thank you, Laura. So Chantel, it is always better to look at the program website, and then the program website will tell you if you have to contact or touch base with a prospective supervisor. Once you are in the program website, there is a section where it will tell you the faculty members that are affiliated to that program. And then it is always best to basically have a short list of potential supervisors that align with your prospective research project or your research interests. So I'm not sure if that answers your questions in regards to irrespective of my area of research. It should align with what you are interested in researching.
Thank you, Natalia. The next question, hello, I wonder how it works after the submission. Is it that a supervisor accepts our application, or is it done via committee decision? Thank you. It really depends on the program to which you're applying. It is true that some supervisors will review applications on an individual basis, whereas other programs review applications as a group and make a committee decision. So it really does depend on which program you're applying to. If you're wanting to know specifically about how things are assessed, please reach out to the program that you're applying to. Hello, I have a master's degree in project and construction management from Iran. I'm going to be applying for the Civil and program at UBCO. I'm not sure if my master's degree will affect my admission process or student visa process by any chance. Michelle, I see you're typing an answer here. Is that something that you're able to answer at this moment?
Yeah, I'm actually almost finished the answer. So, and I'm linking some links to web pages. So I'm just going to answer that one by text.
Okay, wonderful. No problem. Thanks so much, Michelle. So we will respond to that one in a few moments. Moving on to the next question. My current university uses a website called gradintel.com to send transcripts to universities. It's a foreign institution, and this is done by sending a link to the transcript through the website. I'm wondering whether there is an email to send this link to, or would you accept the document if I uploaded it into the application portal? It mentions on the transcript that this is only eligible if sent through the website. Any advice would be appreciated. Damien, would you mind answering that question?
So since the COVID pandemic, we have been receiving transcripts electronically. However, the transcript should be sent directly from the institution. So if the institution is using these services and the link is provided to us directly from this institution, then it's acceptable. But if it's a foreign link outside where a student is going to upload the transcript and then it will be forwarded to us, then that is not acceptable. So the transcript must come directly from the institution, regardless of whatever service the institution is using to transfer that link or a PDF copy of the transcript, but it must come directly from the institution.
Thank you very much, Lillian. Next question. If any of the referees are retired and do not hold an official email address anymore, will that be a problem? Natalia, would you mind answering that question?
Yes, that's a great question. So if the referee is retired and does not have an institutional email address, the applicant will need to arrange for a 4th reference to be submitted.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Natalia. There are also, I will mention that on our website, we do have quite a few reference scenarios listed on our website. So if you do have a few more questions come up regarding references, please check out our website for more details. Next question. I'm planning to choose the MEng program in civil engineering. Does this program have an orientation? That's a question that you should be discussing with the program itself, particularly since we're somewhat in a hybrid mode right now due to COVID. If you cannot locate the program coordinator or the program assistant contact information, you can reach out to us at gradask.ok@ubc.ca, and we can of course send that information on to you. Those kinds of questions specifically for the program are best directed there. I will mention though that every year our office does do a large orientation for all incoming graduate students. And so if you're looking for specific information around that, you can check out our website if you're admitted and sign up for that orientation. It's usually done at the end of August or at the beginning of September, depending on how the calendar works. Thanks so much. Hello, I haven't passed my IELTS exam yet. Could I apply conditionally? Because my IELTS is about 6.5 to 7 at least. Damien, would you like to answer that question?
Yes, I was reading that question and a bit confused. I'm assuming that you took the test already and you have the score 6.5. I will say that 6.5 is acceptable. If you're planning to take the test to see if you get a higher grade, you still can apply conditionally, upload the one that you have now. And then once you receive a new grade, you can upload that as well. Try to do that before the application deadline though. So it's there for the committee or the supervisor who would like to review your application.
Great, thanks, Damien. Okay. When do you begin processing a submitted application? Is it after the application deadline or immediately after all your referees have fully submitted their references? Great question. Our office does process applications as they are submitted. So our office, once you press submit, we receive a notification to begin the verification process. As your references come through, we will periodically check on these as well and pull them and verify them as needed. Once your application is complete, we do send the application for program review. So it can vary. Sometimes everything's done very quickly if your referees get things in very quickly, or sometimes it can take a little bit of time. So it really just depends on how ready your application is at the time that you submit it and how long it takes for your references to submit their reference letters for you. The last question I have here. I'm applying to work on a research project as a PhD student, and the project lead has said that they will be supporting my application. What does this mean in practice? Natalia, would you like to take this last one?
Thank you. So Daisy, I guess I'm wondering if the project lead is offering to be a prospective supervisor. I think it will be best to reach out to that specific person and clarify what they mean. But if that's the case, then I'll suggest looking at the requirements for that specific program and then looking at that you meet all the requirements and talking to that person to understand if a prospective supervisor should be identifying your application when you submit it.
Great, thanks. Oh, it looks like we've got through all of our questions today. So I appreciate you all for submitting. Those were great questions. If you have any more, you can of course reach out to us at any time. Our contact information is there. You can reach us at gradask.ok@ubc.ca or grad studies, or check out our website at gradstudies.ok.ubc.ca. We also have our social media. So if you have any questions about today's session, please reach out to us. Just to let you know that a recording of the session will be made available on our website in the coming days for those who were unable to join us today. We thank you very much for giving us your time today, and we hope that you found this session very helpful. We wish you all the best with your application and journey towards graduate studies. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.